So what are the most expensive aspects of hi-fi sound to get? Dynamics, soundstage, detail, bass impact, tonal accuracy, and loudness. By which I mean, being able to go really loud and stay cohesive. Now, some of these things I would say are cheaper than others. Some of them you can't get without spending a lot of money or buying second-hand gear and, getting expensive gear on the second-hand market. So I'm going to do what I consider these in order, starting at the cheapest and going up to the most expensive. Okay. And this, by the way, spans vintage and modern gear. I'm kind of putting into this whole equation. And, feel free to give me your comments. I'm not even sure I've got all this right at all. So, but these are my thoughts on this. Okay. At number 6, detail. I think you can get a lot of detail nowadays via the streamer and the streamer and the Class D amp. Those things do deliver a ton of detail. So for me, you can get that pretty cheap. Streamers are better than, say, CD players. I think you have to spend a lot of money. In my experience, it's only expensive CD players that give me any real wow factor. So I feel like the CD player is behind the streamer. And of course, turntables are good, but you've got to spend good money on those to get detail. Number 5, bass impact. Yes, bass you can feel. Boom, 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 boom. You feel it. It's in the room. It's shaking your body. It's really doing something to you. You can get that with second-hand speakers, bigger second-hand speakers. I mean, it's almost impossible to get real bass impact out of a 4-inch cone. The bigger the cone, the more air you're moving. So even though you can get bass impact, I'm not saying this is the best bass in the world. This may not be, but it's nice. It's an experience and it's a thing. It's worth, it's a buzz to really feel that bass. So I'm putting that at number 5. I mean, you'll probably buy those speakers 100, 200 pounds. You can get a lot of towers now from the, 90s, 2000, not that old. So many of them, they're okay. They've got quite a bit of scale about them, a bit of wallop. There's sort of so many of them, they don't seem to go for a lot of money. Anyway, that's probably a video I could do another time, investigate that. But, second-hand speakers will give you bass impact. Number 4, dynamics. This is mostly an amplifier issue. Amplifier, preamplifier, integrated, whatever you're talking about. But if that amplifier is not delivering the dynamics, the speakers can't do it. There are a lot of modern, cheaper amplifiers and the Class D amplifiers, they don't have that dynamics. And some of the vintage stuff, Sansui, a lot of older stuff has more dynamics than modern stuff. So, it's getting a bit more expensive to get, but I would look into the vintage amp world to get my dynamics. And if you're going to do it in the modern, buying something today, I think you're going to have to spend, $1,000 at least on an amp to start getting something with some decent dynamics. I mean, this is all very vague. Feedback to me. If you've got stuff and you know about things that really deliver, I'd love to hear about it. But all I want to really say is there's a lot of flat sounding, cheap modern amps and Class D amps, like that Wim thing I reviewed the other day, Wim amp and streamer. Just doesn't have the dynamics, and that generalizes to cheaper things, and to me they're not worth having. If you ask me, they're not worth having. So I would go look into the vintage times, even stuff like quad, even though they're meant to be tame, they are class, and they'll deliver you some, they'll sound dynamic compared to a cheap modern amp. I mean, such a big subject, I can't really go into it on this one, but I'm putting dynamics at number 4. Okay, number 3, soundstage. Now you're getting into what I consider the real joy of hi-fi, where everything is in a position, and if it moves around in the production, you can hear it moving around. This is just really great stuff. Turntables can give you great soundstage, good turntables, yes. Not really cheap turntables. Not really average CD players, if you ask me. I always feel like CD players often, it's like chunky. There's chunks of sound. All the super fine detail that link everything up, it's not often there in a cheaper CD player. By that I mean, a 300, 400 pound CD player. Probably you have to spend £2,000 to start getting a CD player with some real joy in it. So I got soundstage at number 3. To me, the turntable is the greatest thing for the soundstage. I just love turntables. Just the speed at which they move, you see. That's why they give you that soundstage so good. Because it's the super fine detail. That, you would think a streamer would do that better, or the digital world would do that better. But, it does not seem that way. Whenever I swap, because I am a bit seduced by the streamer, I've got to tell you. But then every now and again I put my turntable on, and every time I do that, I go, oh God, this is what hi-fi is all about. It's so much more dynamic and positioned and fast moving, the turntable, I mean. Okay, so that's number 3, the soundstage. Number 2, tonal accuracy. Getting the human voice and all those other instruments and all those frequencies, getting them right. Now, this is an expensive thing to do, Again, I would say more a speaker issue than anything else, but more majorly a speaker issue. You've got to have a well thought out, engineered speaker, crossover. It's time, it's money, it's effort to make those speakers really work across the whole sound spectrum. And obviously, if you want it to do everything, it's got to be quite big if it's going to go down low and go up high. So to me, the human voice is getting very hard, but when you get the human voice right, what a joy. What a joy to really feel like that person is there in the room. And we all know if the human voice is wrong. A guitar, you can't know if it's wrong. They're all set differently, different strings, but the human voice, everyone knows, I don't think you even have to be a hi-fi person to spot that. It's just instinctive and obvious, because, we are the human voice, obviously. So, Okay, so the tonal accuracy I've got at number 2. Number 1, the hardest, most expensive thing to achieve on your hi-fi, I would say, is going loud and keeping it together. It's because that's a speaker issue too. It's gonna have to be a biggish box, well engineered. You're gonna go loud, you've got to move more air, you've got to want bigger drivers. You're just upping the whole demanding. It's more demanding of a speaker to go really loud and hold it all together. I mean, in a way, I call that a kind of advantage. I think of it as a kind of an advantage because I hardly ever want to go really loud. So I feel like I could save a load of money because I don't need to do that. But if you want to do that, and it is impressive, right? It's so impressive when someone really cranks it up and it goes, oh, it's all holding together and it sounds beautiful, but just gets bigger and bigger. that is, you know, it's an amplification issue and it's a source material issue as well. Surely it is. But the first thing that came into my mind was, so if those speakers can't deliver it, forget it. You know, because loads of speakers can do great things at ordinary levels. But if you go loud with them, that's where the problems arise, you know, and that's what you might pay 5 times more to be able to go loud. You know, it's kind of worth knowing, even as I say it here myself, that is worth knowing, because, you know, not everyone even needs or wants that. And you might pay a load of money for that ability, but never really use it. So, you know, is it worth spending all that money if you never go really loud? I mean, a good big one's better than a good small one. I want to say that too. So yeah, okay, that's it. Those are my the 6 in order. Give me a few of these and I'm happy, because I don't expect to get them all. But what I don't want is to get a small amount of each one, or an average amount. It feels miserly. Sometimes I listen to stereos that are reasonably priced things, and I just feel, well, you're not giving me anything in abundance that I can enjoy. So it's a nothing burger, you know. It's just not getting me involved, you know. And tell me if I often say this thing, give me something in abundance, and I'm not sure if people get what I'm meaning by that. But anyway, that's the way I see it. You know, give me all 6. I'm definitely happy. Okay, lots of more videos on my channel. If you like it, there's a button called like and subscribe. Okay, thanks. Bye for now.